What's up, people? Back with another reaction, back with some more punk rock, back with another tune from one of the most important albums in my entire life. Like, I would say musically, but it was as much musically as it was intellectually and socioculturally, psychologically. I just said it before, I'll say it a number of other times, surely, but yeah, this album quite literally changed my life. Went up to a hockey camp in Canada, because, when Americans are reasonably good at hockey, they're like, okay, well, obviously you got to go train with the Canadians, so that's what I went and did. And yeah, I met a kid from Montreal there, didn't speak English, but he had How to Clean Everything on cassette tape, and we listened to it in the locker room before ice time. And then, I went home just like, I need to find this album, I need to listen to these tunes and think about these lyrics more. So this album will always remain one of the most important artifacts in my musical history, my personal history. But yeah, we're gonna go through another tune on this, which is Fuck Machine. I've reacted to a few tunes recently from some different bands, punk bands especially, but also there's a song from Tears for Fears I did recently that fits very much into this idiom. I reacted to a tune by UK punk rock band Dogshite, called Sexual Exploitation. It's very much in the same era, or lyrical territory, I should say. Area is, I think, the word I was looking for. Nevertheless, we are talking about sort of misogynistic, sexist, and hyper-sexualized treatment of women in public society, in private relationships, in professional settings, in entertainment settings, even in situations where, what is supposed to be transmitted as news and information, they still, they being, media companies, executives, corporate or cultural forces and influences, the idea that sex sells, this idea of saturating everything with like an enforced and hypersexualized attitude toward women, and the sort of cavalier attitude toward, people kind of patting a woman on the backside or giving her opinions, unsolicited opinions about her physical appearance, or, constantly like talking about women through the prism of their physical appearance or their sexual allure or the lack thereof. It's a song that gets at that issue. But it's interesting when I came to think about this song. In the end, the female anchor, who at the beginning of the song has to listen, and while her male colleagues joke about, oh, this bikini film at 10, and make sure you watch it and whatever, despite the fact that we're supposed to be talking about serious issues here and whatever. The beginning of the song, it's almost like the narrator is criticizing the woman, like, hey, like, is this all you want to be? Is this, the totality of your existence is to be like a sexual object for men, or like, an object of a sexual fantasy for men? Like, don't you want to be treated more professionally and seriously? Which seems, like the blame is being a bit misplaced there, but I do think there's a tongue-in-cheek to the lyrics, because by the end, after the female anchor has taken her stand and like, I'm not your fucking toy, he sort of stands up and just, I'm not just gonna sit idly by while you talk in this sort of crass, cavalier way about us and our bodies. There's a line that like ends like, I long to embrace, but I can't misplace my priorities, including like a distaste for fashion. So yeah, like, I think there's a tongue-in-cheek to the lyrics, but essentially it's a song about women just being sick of being talked to in that way, having enough, having like more than a bellyful of men sort of presuming to comment on their physical appearance, to touch them in sort of like a free sexual way, as if that was okay to do to strangers or even someone that you're getting along with and whatever. It's a song that condemns the sort of hyper-masculine and hyper-sexualized approach to women in public society, professional settings, personal relationships. But as I said, I do think there's a cheek to the lyrics, so let me know what you think about this one. One final comment before we start. When I was getting into this band in the early to mid 90s, and when I was by the time I got to freshman year in high school, I'd been listening to them for a couple years, but then you go to high school and you meet new people who weren't at your junior high, and I became friends with some other people who listened to punk rock, but none of them were really into Propagandhi. They didn't even know who Propagandhi was. So when they started to listen to this CD, I remember a friend of mine is like, like some of their ideas, like a bit crazy to me, but dude, that guitar player, like, holy crap. And I do think Chris's guitar playing really stands out on this one. Just the opening riff and just sort of like the creativity of his guitar work, I think, is one of the hallmarks of this album that stands out even now, like 30 years later, or just about 30 years later. I think next year will be the 30th anniversary. But yeah, this one, I think it really does stand out in particular. So here we go. This is Fuck Machine by Propagandhi on their 1993 album, How to Clean Everything.
It's something physical condition reaction. It's something physical condition attraction. But I finally escaped. With my eyes no longer rape the innocent women.
That's right, the narrator's kind of dealing with his own interaction with this sexist, misogynistic society. So like, am I really outside of this? Oh shit, there's a bikini film? Like, maybe I want to watch that, like...
This just in, but killing film at 10. The female angry smiles and shrugs it. The boys will be boys. Do you really wanna be our fucking toys? And again, condoning with a grin. Just sit back idly, just not food, you're just a fuck machine. Is that what you really wanna fucking be?
This, like, I just flash back to being in Vancouver, like, roughly 30 years ago. There's emotion in this part. Shout out to Samson on the backing vocals, maybe George too, I'm not sure. Then the song like erupts again for the final part. It really, like, the intensity comes back and it stops being so reflective.
And yet again, subjecting women, the feelings is finally cleansed. I'm not your fucking toy.
I do like the way it just tails off after that last line. Again, I think there's a cheekiness to the lyrics. As I prepared to react to this, I was sort of thinking more about the beginning of the song, and then like once it started, I remember some of those other lyrics. And again, like I think there's a sort of like tension in the dialogue of the words of the narrator himself, because he's saying like, oh, have I finally gotten to the point where like, you know, I'm not like sexualizing people with my eyes, I'm not sort of objectifying people in terms of their body parts and whatever, but oh shit, you know, there's a bikini film at 10. So again, I feel like there's a cheekiness to the lyrics on both sides. As I said, like when I went to think of it, I was like, you know, this line in the beginning, it feels like it's being especially harsh on the woman. Like, no, surely she doesn't want to be a fuck machine, but like, you know, maybe she feels that her professional position could come into question if she were to like raise a stink about, you know, the way that she's being talked to or treated or so on. Like there are all sorts of factors that lead into these systems of sort of misogyny and sort of sexist attitudes being perpetuated, and part of them are by the fact that people have personal concerns beyond their ideological concerns. So yeah, but again, I think there's a cheekiness to it. So I think, like, you know, it's the way that narrative unfolds, it's operating on a couple different levels. So let me know what you think about that one. Let me know if you like it. Let me know if you enjoy Chris's guitar work as well. When the song started, I had forgotten about that sort of like reflective kind of instrumental section. I mean, there are those that sung part with the backing vocals, like I mentioned, but generally speaking, that sort of interlude part makes me go up into my headspace, and then by the time he comes back for that final verse, it's very like energetic and powerful again. But yeah, let me know what you think of that one. Let me know if there's another tune on here I haven't yet got to that you'd like to see a reaction to. Other than that, thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you next time.